I'm here with Lauren Curtis. She's an amazing artist and photographer, and we have the pleasure of speaking with her today. So I just want to start off by asking, what was your journey into art in terms of like in your early childhood and in your adolescence? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Sure. Well, I always loved to draw ever since I was a young child. My father was actually very good artist. He loved drawing nature and wildlife. So he was my first teacher when I was very young. My parents were supportive of my art, so I had some private, lessons at people's homes, kind of like what I'm doing right now, like one-on-one lessons, some small group lessons for kids. I had some amazing art teachers in junior high and high school, and they did help prepare me for, a degree in arts at college. And I knew as of seventh grade I wanted to be an artist as a profession. So I I had some art programs at various schools and universities when I was younger. And then I went to Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers and graduated with my BFA in drawing and painting in 1988. Did an internship at some galleries in Soho, worked at a gallery in New Jersey for a while. Uh, then I did a lot of fundraising and marketing type of work. And then 25 years ago, I finally decided to make the leap and become a full-time artist and private art teacher, and I've been doing that ever since.
So what was that transition from becoming a full-time artist to was compared to just being a student at Mason Gross? Was it daunting? Were there any growing pains that you experienced?
For sure. Well, there was quite a bit of time between. So I did work at a couple of art galleries, and in sales for many years, and then I was just doing other things. I always did my own art, and I was doing a little bit of freelance, but I had the quote unquote regular jobs of fundraising for environmental organizations, doing marketing for medical companies and things like that. But all of that really helped me with my career because it helped me with the business end and knowing how to um, do the business of art and promote myself and know about sales and bookkeeping and all that, which I needed to know to have my own career. Um, so when the companies I was working for went out of business, I just made the decision, you know what, like I'm just gonna go for it. I have some unemployment coming. I'm just gonna take my time and, build my own career. And, it worked. It took a very long time. There was a lot of, struggling years of not making enough to cover the bills and things like that. But I had help from family, and then I just kept at it. And now I'm teaching art and art marketing courses, one on one to people all over the country, remotely and in person. I do that full time now, Monday through Friday, and I'm also exhibiting my own work and doing a lot of freelance illustration and artwork as well. So um, it was also learning how to branch out, trying different aspects of art that you can make a career out of. When one thing doesn't work, you got to figure something else out.
Yeah, I was scrolling through your website and I noticed that you have kind of two major mediums, one with oil paintings and one with digital and film photography.
Mm.
Can you explain like how you landed on those two um distinct mediums? Because they seem very different from one another.
Yeah, so as far as oil painting, that's what I really focused on in college. So and
What
I
were you
always really
painting during the time?
I'm sorry.
What were you painting at that time?
My subject matter has always been pretty similar. So I've always been very fascinated by um spirituality, nature, mythology from various cultures, which relates a lot to spirituality. Um, Supernatural, and Wiccan, pagan themes, which also very much stems from mythology and spirituality. Um, so my subject matter has been pretty much the same since college, but I've kind of morphed. My styles have changed a bit. Um, And as far as photography, I've always been interested in nature, travel, kind of zooming in on little details of things that, people might not notice in everyday life, that kind of thing. And also anything that's kind of mythological, supernatural. So getting into Photoshop and doing the digital collages, enabled me to kind of break the barriers of making more fantasy or, surreal type of images than just with traditional photography.
So are you saying that your style kind of resonates in with painting and with photography, even though
Yeah.
they're different art forms?
Yeah,
That's
for sure. Yeah. I don't prefer one over it kind of depends on the piece, that will dictate the medium that I'd like to use. I use watercolors also, pen and ink. I do mixed media. So, I have a lot of different mediums that, I enjoy using for different purposes.
Yeah, of course. You say that you're now an art teacher and you also teach art marketing. What is the impact on you when you're teaching?
Well, it's been great because it's become my, main source of income for one, and it's doing something I love to do. I get to meet people from all over, all different ages, all different, even different countries, but all different states, um, all different types of people, and it's just great to be able to, help other people be creative, whether it's for a hobby or because they want to do it as a career. Um, so I have students that come to me to learn art, to learn how to draw or paint. Some want cartooning, some want nature, some want portrait. And then I have students that come to me to help them with their own art business. So I help them with their marketing and their career strategy. They already are good at what they're doing, but they don't know the business side of it. So I help them with that. And then there are students where I do both. We kind of combine the two together.
Do you enjoy watching your students like kind of evolve throughout in terms of like owning their own business or evolving their art style?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see um their progression of skill and to see them notice it. Like, I'll have a lot of my students after they're with me for a while, I'll tell them, "Hey, let's look back at when you first started to now." And it's great when they can actually see how much they've progressed from the beginning. And then a lot of them have just become friends. I mean, I've had some students that have been with me for years and they've become friends as well, so that's even better to see how well they're doing, because we have like a bond. And so it's important for me that, if they're going to spend so much time and money with me as with the lessons, that they succeed and are happy with the results that they're getting.
Yeah, of course. I also want to go back to being how did you first meet Stuart? How did you get involved with Persona Land? And just walk me along through that journey.
I'm trying to remember how I found Persona because I'm on so many different art mailing lists and
Yeah.
art opportunities lists. It
What
was
was it Persona Land or was it Stuart first? Because
Persona Land.
Persona Land
Yeah.
first. Okay.
I have a feeling I probably saw like maybe a call for submissions. I'm thinking because it's been several years. It's been since the beginning. So um it was probably through like a call for art submissions, and then I just really liked what he's doing. I just love the whole vibe and message of everything he's doing. I love his work also. And then so we just communicated and he did a couple of interviews with me that he featured on the site, and then I participated in some other events and things. And I've recommended that many of my students have submitted to their shows, and they've gotten their work in his exhibits, which has been great for them. And so I've just kind of stuck with it ever since because I really, think what he's doing is awesome.
Yeah, as an artist and also with an artist business background, like what is your opinion on like organizations like Priscilla and trying to promote art in like a new way?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think we need much more of this. The arts are way too often overlooked. Now with all these funding cuts to the arts with AI, there's a lot of threats coming into, artists and people that like to create. you know, by hand or digitally, but it's their own work. They're not just asking a AI to come up with something for them. So I think it's really important, and it's important to have a community of artists that can connect from all over the world and support each other, and then be able to see, what different artists are doing all over the world. I think it's just really great for the arts in general. It's great to build that type of community. It's great for exposure for artists to get our work out there. Um, so, I don't see any negatives to it, at all. I know it's tough to market. There's so much to do to keep up with all the changing algorithms and all the different social media, so I know how much work it is, and it's always morphing. But Stewart is always asking for everybody's ideas and opinions, and he's open to change and to help. And I think that's the way to go, to make it successful.
Yeah, just something I noticed when you were speaking about AI and talking about how that could be one of the threats that artists face. Do you find yourself, you yourself and your students trying to like protect the artist in terms of like being able to be like this is a space where you could promote your art and in face of like so many outside threats to like human created art?
Yeah, I mean, I have one student who works with AI, but she's also a great artist herself. So she's not just telling AI what to do and calling it her own art. She's actually a legitimately, a very good artist in her own right, and just uses it as a tool. There's none of my other students, and I have quite a few, are, work with AI at all. Um, but I've noticed that a lot of galleries now, museums, like if they're putting out calls for artwork, they will now explicitly say no AI images allowed. So there is a call, I think, for artists to be protected. And again, like it very well can be used as an enhancement tool, but I think there's a lot of people that are just using AI to create for them and saying, because they came up with some keywords like it's mine, like it's original art, and it's not. And it's been known that AI does take from other artists, with no compensation, with no way to know if your work has been, taken in any way. So there, laws are definitely going to have to be further developed as this goes along and continues to grow, because it's not going anywhere. Um, so, uh, but yeah, I have read about programs that are being tested now that will be able to scramble images from AI, being able to use them. So I'm just kind of waiting and watching to see how that develops. And, we have talked about it, with my students. So, that has come up as a concern with a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it's very valid. It's such a like it's such an incoming issue that it
Mm,
feels like there's like policies and regulations like aren't able to catch up right now.
right,
Um, I
right.
I don't want to keep you over time. Just any last words you want to say about like any thoughts and feelings about art, persona, and you yourself in general, anything before we wrap up?
Sure. I just think, art should be an important part of people's life. There's so many forms of art that that it can take. It's self-expression, it's communication, it's being open-minded to other people's ideas, having conversations instead of screaming matches. I just think art is crucial now more than ever. It breaks my heart to see that budget and funding cuts that are now happening and threats to art organizations. And, we definitely need places like Persona Land that hopefully don't have to rely on that and just rely on the community and people like Stewart coming through for us. And, globally promoting all the positive things that, art can do for society as a whole.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you again for fitting me into your very busy schedule,
Oh,
and thank
absolutely.
you.
And I appreciate you wanting to do the interview.